Welcome to the 1,000 Nights and 1 Night. And when it was the 57th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that the merchant went up to Nuzhat al-Zaman, and was put to shame by her beauty and loveliness. So he sat by her side and asked her, O my mistress, what is thy name? She answered, Dost thou ask what is my name this day, or what it has been before this day? Thereupon the merchant inquired, Hast thou then 2 names, 2 days and yesterdays? Yes, she replied. My name in the past was Nuzhat al-Zaman, the delight of the age. But my name at this present is Gusset al-Zaman, the despite of the age. When the merchant heard this, his eyes brimmed over with tears, and quoth he to her, Hast thou not a sick brother? Ay, by Allah, O my lord, I have, quoth she, but fortune hath parted me and him, and he lieth sick in Jerusalem. The merchant's head was confounded at the sweetness of her speech, and he said to himself, Verily, the Badawai speak the truth of her. Then she called to mind her brother and his sickness, and his strangerhood, and her separation from him in his hour of weakness, and her not knowing what had befallen him, and she thought of all that had happened to her with the Badawai, and of her severance from her mother and her father and her native land, and the tears coursed down her cheeks, and fast as they started, they dropped, and she began reciting, Allah, where'er thou be, his aid impart to thee who distant dwellest in my heart. Allah, be near thee, how so far from fair, ward off all the shifts of time, all dangers thwart. Mine eyes are desolate for thy advanced sight, and start my tears on me, how fast they start. Would heaven I keened what quarter or what land homes thee in what house and tribe thou art, and fount of life thou drain and greeneth of rose, while drink I tea drops from my soul desert. Ah, thou joy slumber in those hours when I feel twixt my side and couch coals burning smart. All things were easy save to part from thee. For my sad heart this grief is hard to dree. When the merchant heard her verses, he wept, and put out his hand to wipe away the tears from her cheek. But she let down her veil over her face, saying, Heaven forbid, O my lord. Then the Badawai, who was sitting a little distance watching them, and saw her cover her face from the merchant while about to wipe the tears from her cheeks, and he concluded that she would have hindered him from handling her. So he rose, and running to her, dealt her with a camel's halter he had in his hand such a blow on the shoulders that she fell to the ground on her face. Her eyebrow struck a stone, and was cut, and the blood streamed down her cheeks, whereupon she screamed a loud scream, and felt faint, and wept bitterly. The merchant was moved to tears for her, and said in himself, There is no help for it, but I buy this damsel, though at her weight in gold, and free her from this tyrant. And he began to revile the Badawai, whilst Nuzhat al-Zaman lay insensible. When she came to herself, she wiped away the tears and the blood from her face. She bound up her head, then raising her glance to heaven, she besought her Lord with a sorrowful heart, and began repeating, And pity one who erst in honor throve, and now is fallen into sore disgrace. She weeps, and bathes her cheeks with railing tears, and asks, What cure can meet this fatal case? When she ended her verse, she turned to the merchant and said in an undertone, By the Almighty, do not leave me with a tyrant who knoweth not Allah the Most High. If I pass this night in this place, I shall kill myself with my own hand. Save me from him, so Allah save thee from Jannah fire. Then quoth the merchant to the Badawai, O Sheikh of the Arabs, this slave is none of thine affair, so do thou sell her to me for what thou wilt. Take her, quoth the Badawai, and pay me down her price, or I will carry her back to the camp, and then set her to feed the camels and carry their dung. Said the merchant, I will give thee 50,000 dinars for her. Allah will open, replied the Badawai. 70,000, said the merchant. Allah will open, repeated the Badawai. there is not the capital spent upon her, for she hath eaten with me barley bread to the value of 90,000 gold pieces. The merchant rejoined, Thou and thine and all thy tribe in the length of your lives have not eaten 1,000 ducats worth of barley. But I will say thee one word wherewith, if thou be not satisfied, I will set the viceroy of Damascus on thee, and he will take her from thee by force. The Badawai continued, Say on. 100,000, quoth the merchant. I have sold her to thee at that price, answered the Badawai. I shall be able to buy salt with her. The merchant laughed, and going to his lodgings, brought the money and put it into the hands of the Badawai, who took it and made off, saying to himself, Needs must I go to Jerusalem, where haply I shall happen on her brother, and I will bring him here and sell him also. So he mounted and journeyed till he arrived at Jerusalem, where he went to the Khan and asked for Zu al-Makan, but could not find him. Such was the case with him. But for what regards the merchant and Nuzhat al-Zaman, when he took her to throw some of his clothes over her and carried her to his lodgings, and Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day and ceased saying her permitted say, and so do I finish this reading for today, until it be morrow.